My name is Dr. Cherish. I'm a military family life counselor at Fort Campbell, but I also maintain a private practice in Clarksville. Community health for a long time, as well as the civilian sector. And I'd just like to see a show of hands as to how many people are a veteran, know of a veteran, is a spouse of a soldier or a veteran, or who has had a relative who has been in the military. How many, okay, how many people don't know of anybody in their immediate family who has been in the military? So everybody is aware of somebody being in the military, right?
Yeah.
You've been married to somebody, your relatives and all of that. So we all have that in common. As a female veteran-owned business, and there's not too many of us out there, but we're working on that, I'm really passionate about working with soldiers, veterans, and families. And as I mentioned, I currently work at Fort Campbell full-time, and I maintain a private practice. Coincident, my daughter was in the Air Force. She's currently married to an Air Force guy who just retired. So I'm very familiar with the military community. As I mentioned, I was a medic during the Vietnam era, and I decided to eventually branch out into the counseling arena because I really don't like looking over people and taking care of people in beds and stuff. So I decided that I do a better job at talking with people. So I chose that direction. So in 2013, I did finish my PhD in counseling psychology. And so as you can tell, I'm not a spring chicken. But I am licensed in both mental health and addictions. And basically what that means is working with insurance panels, various insurance companies, doing evaluations, assessments, but also referrals, consultations. So it's not always just like a hardcore clinical counseling session. I am truly an advocate for the military community, but also for the civilian sector. I have a couple of contracts in some companies like Train for what they call employee assistance programs, where maybe an employee had a death in the family, maybe they're having problems with work performance and that kind of stuff. So I will see them and do the evaluations, assessments, but also oftentimes referrals. And that's why this is a really good place to be networking for referrals, because we're not a one-man show here. So truly, I would say I'm an advocate, working with people, health challenges, transitions in life, career challenges, career changes. Part of my background in grad school was, the minor was in career counseling. So as an advocate, I'm really connected with the Women Veterans chapter here in Clarksville, which is growing. And a lot of those women are married to soldiers, married to veterans. So that organization is growing. The Disabled American Veterans, I'm well connected with that, with the American Legion, the Veterans Coalition here in Clarksville, which is a growing field, and I'm also a member of the American Counseling Association, but as well as a member here of the Clarksville Networking Group. But in closing, what I'd like to note is that everyone goes through various life transitions that may require walking alongside a professional to put their lives in perspective. Case in point, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. That was medically overwhelming, and I actually sought out counseling for that, because it does affect your life, affects your relationships, it can affect your career. So sometimes we have to take a step back and we have to look at those things. So we're just human beings, aren't we? Sometimes we just need to put our lives in perspective through the help of a professional, because sometimes our family members, our friends are not always able to help us as well as we would like. So that's why it's really good to network and collaborate with one another and help with one another. And in closing, what I'd like to do is just credit the people here that I've met through C&G, Tim Shanks, for helping me with my car and home insurance. He has saved me probably about $400 a year. Joanne with her Juice Plus products. Lisa helped me to design this beautiful banner. Don Woods has really done a great job at helping me to design my website. I've recently met with Cindy Cleaver, who's good. She does CPA, she does taxes and stuff. I've met with Dr. Taylor. I've done acupuncture with him, chiropractic treatment, and I'm going to be seeing his wife. I've talked to Jo about her products. I'm well familiar with doTERRA, which is an excellent product. I've met Bera, and I met her at a Women Veterans conference last year, and I introduced her to Joanne, who has since introduced her to Juice Plus products, and I believe Bera's husband is involved in Juice Plus products. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. She said, yes, ma'am. So I met with Doris, who's into housekeeping, residential. We did sort of a dance card at my house a few weeks ago, and she's going to come on board in the near future. I met with Amy. We've talked about banking and opening up an account because as sort of a sole proprietor, it's really good to have a separate account with your business expenses. And I've met with Trina. She helped me to open up a Roth account. And I'm meeting with Alicia today after this session to talk about sending out cards and utilizing those resources. So I think Clarksville Networking Group is a great way to network, learn more about one another, and how we can refer to one another by building the relationships and community outreach. So what I'd like to do is just go through this really quick and, just show you my services. So, and as I mentioned, I'm not a spring chicken here. So I've worked in hospitals, clinics, I've worked at VA facilities. So as we're in the field, whatever field we're in, we're always evolving, we're always growing. So some of the areas that I'm getting into is, and I still like counseling, but I like to do clinical supervision. So what I also do now is I provide clinical supervision for some graduate level students. So I do that. And what else do I do here? And also, sorry about this. So I work with the veterans, soldiers, cognitive behavioral therapy, more reality-based, individual trauma. I'm trained in EMDR. I've done groups, I've done couples, and all that kind of stuff. So again, I've been around the block a little bit. As a breast cancer survivor, I became sort of a little bit of a mini expert because how many people have had a health challenge in their life? We do a lot of research, don't we? So we really become very good at knowing that subject area. Again, referrals, resources, and then I also do what they call DWI, GUI services, evaluations. Some people sometimes drink drive, they get a DWI, they have to see a lawyer, right? They usually have to get an evaluation. So they have to be referred to somebody. So I provide those services. I'm licensed in both Tennessee and Kentucky. And let me see. So I've told you pretty much about myself, and you can always go to my website that Mr. Woods helped me to design here. What I'm going to do is, in the back here by the coffee, there's some handouts. You can take them home with you. They're stress inventories. They're little questionnaires, and you can self-score. So you can take it home, whatever you want to do with it. I also have my business cards, but I also have these little cards. They're little stress cards. So if you put your thumb on it and you hold it for 10 seconds, it will tell you maybe you're cold, but maybe you're a little anxious, a little nervous, or whatever. So those are yours to keep. They're over there. And I thank you very much for your time. And if anybody has any questions, I'm open to answering anything. Yes.
Do you find now, even when you talk about still being on post, aside from soldiers, et cetera, being sent to you, do you find even outside in the community that people, in the military community are, you know, becoming more comfortable seeking your services compared to before due to, you know, something you didn't do before?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's word of mouth. Now, I cannot refer to myself at Fort Campbell, because that's really unprofessional, it's a conflict of interest. But maybe somebody knows me and says, hey, you know, why don't you go see Carol? So usually people that are coming to me, it's usually word of mouth. At Fort Campbell, I've seen some of the employees in some of the different arenas at Fort Campbell through their insurance companies. I've done that. Seen a lot of soldiers, a lot of veterans, people who are going to church. Maybe they have some loved ones who are attending churches. They referred me that way. And what I usually do is I'm very unorthodox. I'm not a hardcore kind of counselor. I don't know what that means to most people, or when people think of counseling and that, but really it's just, we're really advocates, if you will, advisors, because I've seen many people that really I shouldn't be seeing. They need to be seeing somebody else. So I don't have an issue referring out, and I think that's a part of working in the field. And we need to really know what our scope of practice is, right? But usually mine is word of mouth. And so it's unusual for me to be in this kind of setting because of being a counselor. So, you know, usually you're a part of the American Psychological Association, the American Counseling Association, but to be doing things in my local community feels a little different. But at the same time, as I mentioned, I made lots of connections here. And that's really what it's all about. It's the referrals, the connections, and being supportive of one another. So, any other questions?
I stepped out a few minutes ago. I don't know if maybe somebody answered this, but is your office on post?
Actually, my office is in my home.
Okay.
I would never have thought to do that before, but I like it. And it really saves me a whole lot of money. So what I tend to do is, because I work out of my home, I usually charge less, and try to be flexible and you know, available for people. So, all right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.